So for this experimental gameplay project, I wanted to recreate the idea of a tilt maze in a digital world, where the player controls the rotation of the entire platform in order to influence moving the ball around and into the objective. Players' initial reactions are good. A bit of confusion and surprise as they don't move the ball, but they notice the shadows of the environment shifting in immediate response to their input. I noticed during playtesting that, although it felt weird to the players, they pretty quickly adjusted to this unusual control format, and most players solved each level pretty quickly, but each person got stuck on at least one level for a much longer time. But that one level was different for each person. This tells me that there's something about the information players receive from the changing shadows and how they interpret that and decide what they need to do next that has a lot of difference of opinion to it, and this idea could be worth expanding into a real game. This level, for example, is pretty straightforward. You just need to reach the platform below you, but figuring out exactly when to start tilting in the other direction can end up being a bit more difficult than you might have anticipated. This level doesn't really have a fail state where the player can fall. It's just more of an experiment of how does it feel when the shadowing is more subtle due to an enclosed environment, and is it still easy to reach an unnaturally positioned objective? It certainly has a strange feeling to it trying to reach it. This level is where it starts to get tricky. There's multiple different tilt angles that are required to correctly position the ball before you punt it over to the other side. But in doing so, you begin to realize the ball falls in weird directions based on how the world is currently rotated. And this final level is sort of a real puzzle. As the player begins to experiment with how to reach the objective, they realize that the most straightforward path doesn't really work, and so you have to look for a different way to get there, a sort of unconventional solution as far as our brain is concerned. Because there's certain ways that you look at something and you think, this is how I'll get over there if I have to rotate things. And it just doesn't quite happen that way, so you have to think a bit differently in this game, which I think is pretty interesting. And there you go.